22-year-old Karla Brown was a beautiful former cheerleader with a bright future ahead of her. She and her fiancé, Mark, had just bought a little house in Wood River, Illinois. They had some rough patches in the past, but this house was supposed to be their fresh start. On June 21st, 1978, Karla decided to stay home from work to unpack boxes. She was on the phone with a friend, laughing and making plans. It was a normal, happy summer day. Until... For years, the killer of 22-year-old Karla Brown walked free, believing he had committed the perfect murder. According to the police, he had. There were no fingerprints, no weapon, no DNA, no witnesses. The case was frozen cold. But the killer made one fatal mistake: arrogance. He didn't know that he had left a signature behind. A clue so small, so faint, that the human eye literally could not see it. It was hiding in a crime scene photograph, sitting in a dusty evidence box, waiting for the future to arrive. This is the story of how a killer was caught by a piece of evidence that didn't exist, until we learned how to look. It was just another hot summer day in 1978, when Karla Brown was found brutally murdered in the basement of her new home. At first, it looked as if the killer had committed the perfect crime. He had scrubbed away every piece of evidence, leaving police stumped for years. But the killer made one mistake. And even though it would take years for police to find this mistake, once they did, the entire crime and cover-up would come unraveled. The small clue left behind could only be seen with advanced technology discovered years later. It was hiding in a crime scene photograph, waiting to be found. 22-year-old Karla Brown was the girl everyone loved. She and her fiancé, Mark, had just bought this little house that was supposed to be the beautiful fresh start and breath of fresh air that their rocky relationship needed. On June 21st, Karla Brown decided to stay home from work to unpack boxes. She was on the phone with a friend, laughing and making plans to host dinner at their new home. Suddenly, she stopped talking. She told her friend,
"Listen, I have to call you back. Someone is at the door."
She hung up the phone, and her friend never heard from her again. That afternoon, around 5:30, her fiancé Mark and his buddy went to the house after work. They expected to find Karla unpacking. Instead, they walked down into the basement and froze. It was a nightmare. Karla was face down in a barrel of water. Her hands were tied behind her back. It looked like she had fought for her life. Panicked, Mark called the police. But once the detectives arrived, they realized something was very wrong with the crime scene. Things didn't add up. The scene appeared to be oddly staged. Karla's hands were tied with a white electrical cord, but the knot was very loose, not tight enough to actually hold someone down. There were men's socks wrapped around her neck, but they were tied neatly. Not something you would expect to see in a life-and-death struggle. And then, she was wearing a heavy sweater, which made no sense. Her fiancé Mark said she would never wear it in the simmering summer heat. Then they found the most oddly placed clue of all. A coffee pot from the kitchen was sitting on a shelf in the basement. Detectives realized the killer had used the water from the coffee pot to wash blood off the sofa cushions. This wasn't a frenzy. This was calculated. The killer had spent a long time in the house after the murder. He cleaned up. He moved the body. He dressed the scene to look like something it wasn't. Who would feel safe enough to stay in the house that long? Who would know she was home alone? Detectives were stuck. They cleared Mark, the fiancé. They questioned two neighbors who were drinking beer next door that day, but they all passed lie detector tests. Desperate, police called the FBI. They needed a profile. An expert looked at the files and said the crime scene was disorganized, meaning the killer was impulsive. He didn't go there to kill her. Something went wrong. Maybe she rejected him. The expert profiler said to look for a single man in his 20s with a sloppy appearance. He may live in the neighborhood or somewhere very close by. He drives an old Volkswagen, probably red or orange. Also, because he knew how to tie those knots, he probably took shop class in high school. The profile was chillingly specific, but the police still had no new leads. The only suspects they possibly had to go on were the two neighbors next door the day Karla and Mark moved in, so they doubled down. If there was any hope of actually solving the case, though, investigators needed more than a psychological evaluation. They needed hard evidence. Without hard evidence, the police couldn't touch anyone. The killer remained free, but as the years went by, the trail went cold. For everyone except Oliver Bush, a crime scene technician who remained deeply troubled by the Karla Brown murder. He would look at the crime scene photos as the years passed. He couldn't let it go. He was haunted by the photos, but he could never determine what caused the specific wounds on Karla's face and chin. The first real break in the case occurred years later, when Bush attended a seminar by Dr. Campbell, a highly skilled medical investigator. Bush went to learn about a new technology that could enhance old photos using cameras, monitors, and computers. It shows details of crime scene photographs that cannot be seen with the naked eye. After the seminar, Oliver Bush approached Dr. Campbell.
Doc,
Bush said.
do I have a case for you?
Bush told Dr. Campbell all about the Karla Brown case. He said they were never able to identify what type of instrument had damaged her face and neck, Dr. Campbell said.
Please send me the photographs that you have of the deceased person, and also send me the autopsy report.
He sent the doctor all of the photos of Karla Brown's crime scene. Dr. Campbell used his image enhancement equipment to scan the grainy 1978 photos. The machine added clarity and three-dimensional views, adding depth to the flat images. Suddenly, the secrets of the past were revealed. When Dr. Campbell was done, he knew what caused the injuries to Karla Brown's face. The new technology revealed things they had missed from years before with the naked eye. First, Dr. Campbell told Bush that maybe it was the TV tray that was the instrument that she was hit in the head with. They saw a TV tray lying on the floor near the couch, 3 feet from the victim. The computer enhancement showed tiny traces of blood and hair on it too. They finally had the murder weapon. The trays were still bagged and untouched in storage 2 years later. Dr. Campbell was able to then verify microscopic traces of blood and hair still present on the tray that was confirmed to be Karla's. Next, the doctor pointed to Karla's shoulder in the photo.
What about that?
He asked.
What about what?
Oliver Bush replied.
The bite mark.
Right there on her shoulder, invisible to the naked eye, was a bite mark bruise. It was clear enough to see individual teeth with the blown up and enhanced image. The killer had signed his name on the victim. Now they just had to find the teeth that matched. Investigators went back to the old files. They looked at the 2 men who had been sitting in the yard next door on the day of the murder. One of them, a man named John Pranter, fit the FBI profile perfectly. He was in his late 20s, he was messy, and he drove an old red Volkswagen. The next break that sealed his fate came when police found out John had been running his mouth. Years earlier, John had told friends he saw Karla's body in the basement. He told them he had seen bite marks on her shoulder. The problem? Police had never released that information. Not even the media knew about the bite marks. The only way John could know about that bite is if he put it there himself or was there when it happened. Police exhumed Karla's body for a second autopsy. They confirmed she had been hit in the head and strangled. The most horrifying discovery was that she had foam around her mouth, which meant she was still alive when she was put in the water barrel. She had drowned. Then they brought in a dental expert. They gave him 3 dental molds for comparison, including the mold of John Prante's teeth. The expert measured the teeth. He carefully compared them to the bite mark in the photograph. He immediately excluded 2 of the 3 molds. He turned the photos and the mold of John Prante's teeth every which way. Finally, he put the photos and clay mold down and said,
That's your man.
Prosecutors believe that after Karla's fiancé, Mark, left for work, John Prante watched from next door. He walked over, knocked on the door, and pushed his way inside. Karla more than likely rejected him. He snapped. He attacked her with the TV tray, bit her, and strangled her. He spent the next hour cleaning up the blood and making the scene look confusing to throw the police off. He even stole her clothes as a trophy. He thought he was smart. He thought he had committed the perfect crime. But science caught up with him. In 1983, 5 years after Karla was killed, John Prante was found guilty and sentenced to 75 years in prison. The invisible clue finally brought justice for Karla and her loved ones.